Afternoon, Tilly. Afternoon, everyone. I've just got to take a quick run into Trundle to pick up a couple of things. So now I might as well record it as we're going. It's a fairly cool winter's day. Not sure what the temperature is, but the breeze is quite cool. Still waiting for the gasket kit to show up for the Harley. It's becoming really annoying, actually. I'm going to have to pursue it. Every time I get on this bike, if I haven't ridden it for a week or so or whatever, you have to really consciously tell yourself to just relax and go with it. But it always takes a while. Because it moves around so much. I just watched most of England and Mexico in the World Football Cup. England won. It was probably the best game I've seen. Well, not probably, it was definitely the best game I've seen. A very absorbing struggle. Worth a look. I'm not a football fan, soccer fan. Don't generally watch it. When I was a kid, I did play one season of soccer in the Newcastle competition for Swansea Belmont. And then my parents split up and we moved to Maitland, and that was that. I went from that to rugby league and never looked back. As far as that went, as far as what I enjoyed, pothole. Try and remember that for the way home. Skippy corner. Yeah, lammies. Come along here a couple of days ago in the car. I came across a feral pig and he was a fairly healthy one too, and he's just running along, just up a bit further, or around here somewhere anyway, and he's running along the side of the road, like on the verge, in the bushes there a bit, and sort of here, along here somewhere. And first of all, I thought it was a dog, like it was black, so I thought it was like a black and tan kelpie, or maybe a rottie or something. Look at you, you cunt. No, I realised it was a fucking pig, you know, and it came out onto the road and then headed towards us, you know, like he was going to have a go at charging the car. So well, I'm fucking glad I didn't meet him on the bike. Anyway, there's a little video I made while I was going along in the car, so I'll pop it up on this. If you'll pardon the language I say, you know, carry on with. But the buggers are everywhere, you know. It's a bit alarming. You know, I dread the idea of running into one on our walks, you know, Tilly and I, on our morning and afternoon walks. We're not going to run into one in the morning, I wouldn't think, but late afternoon, quite possible. Rough old roads, eh? I'll have to look at softening the ride a bit at some stage. Well, then again, we don't want it to sort of start wandering about too much. Skippy sitting in there. It's incredibly green, and this is the middle of winter. This is like, what is it, 6th of July I think it is today. And it's just ridiculous, you know, like, I haven't had lots of rain, but it just kept raining regularly. I think I only had like 20 mils for June, but everything, all my tanks are full. Well, they were, you know, a few days ago. And everything is incredibly green. You know, it should be that real dry winter grass look. And I had to mow the lawn again. That's like twice in about 14 months or something. 14, 15 months. as you know, if you follow any of these videos at all, you know it's actually been really dry for the last year, roughly, last summer, etc. So a lot of farmers, well, all the farmers had to decide whether to, you know, dry sow and hope, or partially sow, or not sow anything at all, you know. The ones who did so, I guess, will be feeling lucky, but it's such a, you know, I hate to be a farmer, cocky, you know, it's like, now everything's going beautifully. But, you know, the next question then becomes, well, let's hope it doesn't rain too much, because then, you know, get a frost too early, or a late frost, I should say. It can really kill the whole affair. You know, it's a constant battle, I think, being a farmer. No matter what it is, you know, crop farming or livestock, you know, or both, you know, obviously people do both. Around here they certainly do. Be interesting to see what they've sown actually this year. Oh, hang on to it, son. I mean, look at that. No, it's obviously a crop. I don't know what it'll be, whether it'll be canola or... I'm not sure. But it's incredible. In July. German girl. So there's this bloke. Oh, actually, I'll tell you about him later. No, and I'll tell you about him now before I forget again. There's this bloke on YouTube, and he's calling himself The Guest. Now, he's an American guy. I was going to say young, but I guess he's youngish. He's got grey in his, you know, temples and in his beard, and he's going to ride from South Africa to the Arctic on a Harley. I missed the first episode, so I'm not entirely sure what the Harley actually is. But it looks to be some kind of soft tail, like a new one. And he's made some modifications apparently. He said he's turned it into a scrambler, but I just can't see how that's happening. Anyway, so at the moment, like, you know, I saw the first riding episode where, you know, he leaves, I think it's Joburg, you know, and heads off on his way. I've watched about 2 or 3, and he's still in South Africa, or he was in Swaziland and stuff like that, and it's like, crikey, and one of his rule number 1 apparently for this trip to go from bloody South, you know, might even be Cape Town, to wherever he's going up north somewhere, is no GPS. But he doesn't even really have paper maps either. He just tends to write down a couple of names on a phone holder and stick it on his handlebars, you know, turn left here or something, you know. and he's not carrying any spare fuel, and his fuel gauge is a typical sort of Harley Triumph sort of idea, as in wildly inaccurate. In this case, wildly pessimistic, which is better than being optimistic, because at least he doesn't think he's got fuel and then runs out. But he's not taking any spare fuel. You know, like even like a 5-litre container or something would make me sleep better at night. I mean, when we were on the Triumph going across Australia and stuff, I took a 10-litre fuel container. I only used it once, but it was there, you know. And as it turned out, we probably still had 5 litres in the tank, sort of thing, you know. I just, you know, I don't know, there's something about it, you know, he's very, I suppose, as a modern thing, you know, usually with Gen Z or whatever, you know, is to just sort of go out into the world and the world will look after me because I'm young and good looking, you know, or something. He trusts a lot in the locals that I wouldn't do, you know. But it's an interesting trip though so far. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it develops. But I hope for him that nothing goes horribly wrong, you know. And riding a Harley that when he doesn't seem to be a mechanic. There's bloody blinkers on these things. There it is. They're so far tucked under there, it's kind of ridiculous. Forgot to check my air pressure again. God, I'm hopeless. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes, the young fella. No, he's not that young, but he's younger than me for sure. And of course, the sights and the scenery and stuff so far have been pretty interesting as well. Okay, it can't be 2:30 yet, so that's good. Fuck me. I go and say to him, mate, can you move your caravan? I could still get through. Now you stop there and wait, okay? You look after this sidecar. We don't want any Germans, you know, pinching it or anything.